This is the story of how 1,500 soldiers from 8 regiments of the British Army joined together to create one of the greatest military ceremonies on Earth.
There is only one standard that's acceptable, and that's excellent.
Stand still.
Everybody has to be absolutely perfect.
A ceremony where mistakes will not be forgiven.
Get in! Get in! Don't drift out!
This year, one regiment in particular is in the spotlight. The 1st Battalion Grenadier Guards. They will have the honour of leading the Queen's Birthday Parade, trooping the colour.
The best way to describe it is organised chaos.
But these men have precious little time to prepare. As fighting soldiers, they've just spent 6 months on the front line in Afghanistan.
Stop!
By the time we troop the colours through the ranks on Horse Guards, 9 weeks before that, we'll have been fighting the Taliban.
For 2.5 centuries, with few exceptions, the dazzling spectacle of trooping the colour has marked the sovereign's birthday. It brings together 1,100 soldiers, 200 horses, and 400 musicians from 7 military bands. In 58 years of the Queen's reign, she's attended every June apart from 1955, when there was a national rail strike. She even survived an attack in 1981. Not even the torrential rain in 2001 was to stop the ceremony.
See the water shooting off their bare skins.
The parade must go on, and without a hitch.
Trooping the colour, the Queen's Birthday Parade, is fabric of the nation stuff. It's iconic, really, across the world. This is, you know, if you ask anyone, what, you know, an image that they recall about London, they'll normally tell you it's about a guardsman for one, big black hat and a red tunic. But for the, you know, for the household division, this is our link with the sovereign. We are household troops. It's our own personal tribute to her.
And at the heart of the parade is the regimental flag, called the colour.
In history, the colour was the rallying point in battle for a regiment. So it was important that the regiment would recognise their own colour, so that in the thick of a battle, they could rally round their one instead of somebody else's. And trooping the colour is the way of taking it round the battalion outside battle, showing them what it looks like.
This Saturday, it's the task of the 1st Battalion Grenadier Guards to troop their colour, something they haven't done for 6 years. It's May, and the Grenadier Guards have just 5 weeks to train for trooping the colour. At Knightsbridge Barracks, one veteran of the parade is already prepared, a brown mare called Burniston.
Burniston, she came into her element about 3 or 4 years ago when we turned her out for the trooping of the colour. And it was a last minute thing. Put her onto one of the rehearsals and she took to it like a duck to water.
Burniston's about to meet the man who will have the central role at the parade. That's the commanding officer, Lieutenant Colonel Rowley Walker of the Grenadier Guards, who has never led the troop before.
Good morning, how are you? They feel very good, actually. If not a little bit long, but I'm comfortable with that.
Just a bit too long.
It's 7 o'clock in the morning, it's Tuesday morning, and it's the beginning of May. This is part of the preparations, and I've got to learn some of the more complicated mounted moves, and that's what these are.
Okay, walk more.
One of the most difficult moves is called the rein-back, where the horse is asked to walk backwards, exactly 10 lengths in a perfectly straight line. This is what it should look like. On the big day, Rowley will have the eyes of the world on him.
Close the hand.
Today is his first try.
So it's quite a long way to go, Colonel. Hell of a long way to go. Keep going, just feel the horse, feel the horse. Right leg, right leg, right leg.
This will be the first time I've done a parade on a horse, so I've got to get Berniston in the right place, give her the right signals so that she knows what's coming next. At the moment, I am not confident that I have a full understanding of the parade and my part in it, but that's why we're doing these rehearsals and that's why I'm here today. So.
Rowley's not a man used to being out of his depth. His usual role is a world away from dressage. Just a few weeks earlier, Rowley and the Grenadier Guards were stationed in one of the most hostile regions on Earth at Shawkat military base deep inside southern Helmand, Afghanistan.
In the summer months, it gets incredibly hot, up to sort of 50 degrees, which when you're carrying 80 pounds or so is a real challenge.
As a senior infantry regiment of the British Army, their mission was to join international forces to prepare the country for a handback to Afghan control. With 18 years military experience, Rowley, a father of 3 from Hampshire, oversees a battle group of 1,300 soldiers, including 540 grenadiers.
There are 2 main groups of insurgents that we will face over the summer. The first is... When we first arrived on the tour, we were facing anywhere between 10 to 15 significant gunfights a day, which across the battle group meant that most people, most of the time, were engaged in combat with the insurgents. Regarding the police at Blue Fort, I'd like you to verify whether the police that are missing have been taken away for the district governor-led eradication program.
Early into their tour of duty, the Grenadiers saw mass casualties when an Afghan policeman they'd been training assassinated 5 soldiers. Among the dead was the regimental Sergeant Major Darren Chant, leaving his pregnant wife a widow. Ian Farrell took over Darren's role. Part of the job of the regimental Sergeant Major is to send the dead back home.
That's the most difficult part of it, you know, it's knowing that somebody else has paid that price for the good of this place, and it always hurts to put one of your soldiers sort of on your watch on the back of the plane back to UK.
Ian is Rowley's right-hand man. At the troop, he'll be in overall charge of discipline. As accords his rank, he has a few privileges here at Shawkat, including the right to live inside a metal shipping container.
I've got a bit of power plumbed in here, so I've managed to get a light in and a power socket so I can run a couple of things off of electric at a time. Here's my washing line, where I hang my gear. But there you go, as you can see, the space I'm lucky enough to have liberated a bit of a cabinet there so I can put some personal things in there at the side, and I've got on there a thing that I carry on patrol in the other way that the wife gave me a few years ago, which is a small pendant that I keep in a box, and I take that out of my patrol kit. It's like my good luck charm, if you like. That's well, it's served me all right so far, so it'll stay lucky with that which she sent me, and this is home. I've got 2 boys, one 18 and one 14, and obviously I miss them while I'm here. I really miss them, but I'm sure they're proud of what I do, and I'm proud of what they do.
The Grenadier Guards' unofficial motto is twice the man, which means they're not only fighting soldiers, but ceremonial ones too. It's May at the Army training camp in Longmoor, Hampshire, and these Grenadiers might be wishing they were elsewhere. 5 weeks before trooping the colour, and they are just starting on basic drill with Ian.
You there, the front rank, the 4th battalion! Stand still in between the drill movements!
What we're about to do is some mass arms drill, which is where we've done the revision of it now, because it was rusty from the tour, and we've done the revision of where the hands need to be, what part of the rifle they need to strike, and what we're going to do now is we do it centrally using the time of a drum,
so that everybody's timing's together.
For many, it will be their first troop. And there's barely enough time to get the complex parade right.
Full grip, I've told you before. Full grip on the stock of the weapon, get there now. That's the position. Every time you like that, full grip. Change.
Your arse fall away, don't get lazy. Okay, mate. Good effort, okay? We need that amount of effort in everything we do in the build-up to the next few parades. So keep it there, make it as painless as possible, and enjoy it. Take step! Take step! Take step!
There is only one standard that's acceptable, and that's excellent. So there can't be any compromises on that. So everybody has to be absolutely perfect.
About! Turn, move! Stand still, move! Try it again.
Second Lieutenant James Brown's role is particularly exposed. As the ensign, it will be his task to carry the colour, the regimental flag, in front of everyone, including the Queen. He has no experience of the troop at all.
I'm not feeling too bad just at the moment. It's all starting to sort of make sense now, exactly where I'm supposed to be, where I'm going, and what's happening when, which is sort of the main concern. So I think once you start to break it down, it's not too bad.
Fresh from Sandhurst, 24-year-old James was just beginning his first tour of duty in Afghanistan when he discovered he'd have such an important role.
It's a great honour to be carrying the colour during the troop. It's a great honour for the battalion to be trooping their colour, especially after coming back from an operational tour and receiving new colours from Her Majesty the Queen. So to be the ensign and troop it on the back of both those events is a very special moment indeed.
For all the Grenadiers who'll be taking part, it represents a great deal, even while they're in the middle of a war zone.
I used to see it on TV, the Grenadiers trooping the colour last time. Sadly, when I saw it, it rained pretty bad, and seeing it for the first time actually on the square, looking at our colours being trooped, it is a really big, proud moment for me.
New people who haven't done the troop before will find it a lot harder to pick it up because there's a lot of stick lifting and a lot of marches that need to be learnt.
Because of the short time frame we've got from getting back from here to actually taking part in the parade, in between patrols and the normal routine work I've had to do, I've sat and watched the DVD of last year.
A man who doesn't need the DVD is one of the Grenadier Guards' longest-serving men of the Queen's Company, Company Sergeant Major Steve Williams. He's done the troop 9 times.
He hasn't got a lot here. All right, so pull forward, go and see Coxie. All right, just need to load up as much water, rations and diesel as can. Right. Pretty much my sort of main job is making sure that the guys get up to the required standard, obviously for the day, because obviously what we produce on that day is a reflection of the company, and more importantly, it's a reflection of the battalion.
Self-tapper. Yeah. So all they do is they'll do tapper.
As the Grenadiers haven't led trooping the colour for some years, many of the men, like James, are first-timers.
Right. So it's from falling the officers, you all come to attention, you'll march out in front of your guards. That'll be yourself and the subaltern. You'll fall in. So then basically what we do is we're trooping in between the ranks now, and we slow march all the way around through 7 and 6 guard. Well, I'll be out the front with you. You'll be out the front. Yeah, you'll be out front. That was a good overview by the Company Sergeant Major as to the process of how the parade's going to work itself. As I say, it's quite strange starting to think about that while we're still out here in Afghanistan. It's going to be a long day, I think, for us, but it was nice to get an insight into it, because at this stage I haven't really put all the working parts together yet.
Steve's determined everyone should get it right, and for him, there's another important date in his diary. A month after the troop, he's getting married, and it's all been arranged at a distance.
We set a date the 20th of July, so spoke to Jo on the phone, and she informed me over the welfare phone that we're getting married on the 20th of July. So obviously I naturally agreed. Put that in behind the first wagon.
Steve might be unprepared for his own wedding, but he must ensure the 110-strong Queen's Company are in shape for both Afghanistan and in the UK. He's not a man to disappoint.
Form! 2 ranks, left, right, left, still!
It's not together. Let's get it right.
It's mid-May, back at Longmoor training camp. With just 4 weeks before trooping the colour, Steve's piling on the pressure.
Right, look at me, stood like that at the moment. Right, force it out. Right, so present the rifle, that's what it's called, to present.
Centre! Height! 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1.
No one likes shouting, but I'm a company sergeant major, so, you know, it's the best way to get anything out of the blokes, you know, is by, obviously, using your voice in the correct manner.
Height! 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1.
Things are a lot calmer at London's Wellington Barracks. You can't have a parade without music, and to keep time, it's the job of the drum majors.
Up. Dip. Off.
The Grenadiers' drum major is Sergeant Jeff Burns. They might look like the cheerleaders of the military world, but in fact, they steer the parade. On the day, hundreds of soldiers from the massed bands will follow in their footsteps.
With the band behind you, it's the music. I've got a bad habit of listening to the music when I shouldn't do, really. But it's just taking a quick glance over now and again. And I have to see what the senior drum major's doing and then pass it on to the drum major to the right of me.
Wait for the signal.
It's difficult sometimes if his arm comes out and I'm not looking in that direction. Sometimes it's easy to miss. So, but you just have to keep concentrating on it all the time and not listen to the music.
This is Jeff on his tour of duty in Afghanistan, where instead of a mace, he wielded a machine gun on patrols to the small villages in Helmand as part of the work to reconstruct the provinces. Jeff's job is to find out what locals need to live more comfortable lives, especially the youngsters. As a father of 3, he knows it's often the small things which make the most difference.
Pens for the kids, winter clothing packs for the kids as well. Things like day sacks for schools, radios. Obviously, with the radios, we dish out the radios. We've got our own broadcasting system, which then allows us to broadcast messages to the local nationals, keep them abreast of local events, things which are going on. The message is we're not here to disrupt their lives. We're here to help them and show the local nationals that we're actually doing something for them and not just trying to destroy their buildings, etc.
In what is a hearts and minds war, it's sometimes a struggle to get the message across.
Yeah? Good? Stasi Puzai? Stasi Num Sede? Nurali.
Back home, Jeff's in charge of the Grenadiers' Corps of Drums. At Wellington Barracks, with 4 weeks to go before the troop, the Corps of Drums are still in the early stages of rehearsal.
And into the second time bar, so da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da.
They'll be performing on both drums and flutes and must be step and note perfect. 2 experienced musicians are 20-year-old Dean Barton and 23-year-old Nicholas Wintle. Every step and beat must be right, otherwise the whole parade is thrown out of sync.
I mean, literally, 2 days after we got back, had a week in work and we were practicing music, just trying to get up to a level or a standard and see where we were individually. But, you know, we've put in quite a lot. I mean, this is like the first week back as well. We've just been getting hounded on it.
You need to hold it on
for a little lunch, 1.5 beats.
Originally, when you're a guardsman, focus on your drill, making sure you don't mess up. But with being a drummer, it's a different ball game, really. You've got to do all the same basics, which comes naturally. Then you've got to play the flute, which sometimes can put you out.
Okay, here we go. Drummers, can! Kick! March!
With less than 1 month left, it's time to take on one of the trickiest elements of the parade, keeping every soldier in perfect line, known as dressing.
Think about your dressing!
Dressing is basically when you're in a straight line and everybody needs to keep in a straight line without looking physically.
How we do it is keep a rough distance, like you stand, before you march off, you have a certain pace, 2 paces away from the next bloke. And you've got to memorise that in your head. You've got to keep that bloke in that tunnel of view.
This lot of side drummers, look to your right. Look to your right. Look at that dressing.
The 1st Battalion Grenadier Guards lived at Shorkat in Helmand for up to 6 months at a time. They left the comforts of home behind, sharing a tent with up to 12 others. And for drummer Dean Barton, it was his first time in a war zone.
As you can see, this is my bed space. Sometimes a little bit untidy, sometimes a bit tidy, but we have to make do with what we've got. With your kit at the front, as always, just in case you have to go out on patrol or get crashed out for anything. You have your Bergen at the back, you have your grip bag at the bottom. You usually have your essentials like magazines, your wash kit, your off cleaning kit, change your clothes, miscellaneous stuff, and to make it seem as homely as possible. My granddad was in the General Service Corps during the Second World War. He was a truck driver, so he was just either ferrying casualties or ferrying supplies to the front line. But sadly, I didn't tell him about me joining the Grenadier Guards or the Army, because sadly he passed away in 1998 with cancer. And whenever I go to my nan's house as a photo of him, I had a first photo of me in my tunic. I'd ask my nan to have it next to my granddad, just respect him because he was my influence.
The soldiers rarely talk to loved ones back home about the daily risks they run. For drummer Nicholas Wintle, a mistake at the troop would be embarrassing. In Helmand, it could be fatal.
Full inspection, show guns clear. Clear each sprigs.
My family don't need to know what we're doing out here, and the troops, you know, you can sort of, I don't know, because you're all going through the same sort of things anyway. You sort of like just talk about it amongst yourselves, like.
Guarding the camp from the watchtower, known as Sangha duty, was one of Nicholas's regular tasks. But not the most popular, with any soldier calling for hours of concentration.
Well, I'm looking at the governor's building, and there's an AMP police building over there. I'm just looking in this, it's like a courtyard area down here, and I'm just making sure that there's no suspicious activity, because obviously this is quite a high threat area for insurgents to attack, like. And I'm just making sure that there's no dodgy vehicles that are going to come down here.
The soldiers are trained to fight face-to-face with the enemy, but since the Afghan war began, a hidden threat has taken more lives than any other. Improvised explosive devices, IEDs. Homemade bombs laid by the Taliban on roads, in fields, or tin cans. Anywhere a soldier might pass.
We have probably found or had reported to us or suspect well over 1,000 IEDs in the time that we've been here in 5 months. So this is a daily occurrence, and therefore it's a statistical probability that everybody who goes out on a patrol will at some stage have come across IEDs.
Recently, well, in late January, we unfortunately hit an IED in one of the Ridgeback vehicles, which just goes to show, you know, everybody's a risk, and it was purely, you know, no lapse in drills, just one of those things. But because of, you know, the equipment we've got and also the drills we carry out, everybody walked out of it, woke up the morning after like we'd had a rough rugby match, but everybody was okay.
Is it the sort of thing you'd ring home about?
No. No, I think you just say you had a small accident today, darling, and don't worry about it, we're fine.
Right, so just remember that's like a good indicator, nice, easy to remember, cage. And then,
The soldiers regularly practice their drill to detect bombs. They call it bomber training.
Stop. Yeah, stop there.
Obviously, if we just don't carry out these drills, there's a potential that we could actually step on an IED, and that's what we don't want. So we'd rather just find it and then get the blokes who sort it out to come and sort it out. Like.
You're all right until you hear it start squeaking, and your arse is chewing your boxers, kind of thing, basically.
Since 2001, close to 300 British soldiers have lost their lives in Afghanistan, largely due to IEDs. And for every soldier killed on the battlefield, 5 are wounded. This was 26-year-old Grenadier Lieutenant Garth Banks boarding the plane to Helmand last September to fight for Queen and country. He returned home in January, the survivor of an IED blast. At Headley Court Rehabilitation Centre in Surrey, he's now 4 months into his recovery.
For me, the final goal in rehabilitation is to be able to walk again, unaided, and be able to sort of carry out a normal life as much as possible.
But really, it's sort of just mastering the balance and the technique as well. Neither of which I have quite done. But you know, getting there takes a while.
It's quite clear that the fun running around stuff is all over, no matter how good the legs are. It just doesn't work sufficiently for me to sort of go running and jumping. But you know, outside of that, there's jobs and professions within the army that I could go into. So I'm not too worried at the moment. I'm not too rushed into jumping into anything.
A little bit painful when that leg goes down.
You're a straight leg, yeah, right?
Not quite.
For all the Grenadiers, trooping the colour will be a proud moment, and Garth aims to be there.
I speak to someone every few days. They're generally sort of complaining about how many hours they're spending on the drill square, and I must say I'm not jealous of that. I was meant to be an usher. Now, I had planned to sort of, as one of my goals, to keep, you know, that role. It's going to be a close one, possibly not, because of walking is hard enough as it is, but in a tunic and with a bare skin on your head, it's that little bit harder. So, I don't know. I've got about 3 weeks. Otherwise, I imagine I'll go just as a spectator to it.
Thighs, men! Get your thighs up!
The Grenadier Guards are in the midst of the quickest turnaround for any operational soldiers to troop the colour on Horse Guards. But only if they get past the Garrison Sergeant Major Billy Mott, the man responsible for all of London's great military ceremonies with 31 years' experience behind him.
I was on parade. It was my battalion that was trooping as escort when that dozy bugger shot at Her Majesty on the Mall, on the corner as she was coming in. on Burmese, I think she was riding. So we were all on there, knew there was a kerfuffle over there, but we didn't know what it was until later on, obviously. But down to a good Scots Guardsman who apprehended the individual. And I'm not going to say how he apprehended him.
No soldier marches onto Horse Guards without Billy's approval.
The Garrison Major, he's basically in charge of everything, like London district-wise. He's like, you don't want to, basically don't want to be on the bad side of him, and just so we don't just keep him not shouting.
When you're stood to attention, you've got your heels together in every part of the mass band.
Today, Billy gets his hands on the mass bands and corps of drums led by the drum majors. It's their first time all together at Wellington Barracks.
Make sure you keep your dressing by the centre, especially on the flanks. Coldstream are right there, and Grenadiers on the left.
The Garrison Sergeant Major checks everything from the length of their stride to the trickiest manoeuvre in military ceremony unique to the parade, the spin wheel. This is what it's supposed to look like.
The spin wheel is absolutely mental. It's just everybody's everywhere and you don't know where you're going.
The theory on the spin wheel was way above me.
Spin wheel is where the band have to wheel around to face the guards or face away from them, and the sheer size of the mass bands with the corps drums on the end of them, it's a difficult process to go through.
Too much moving around and too much talking at high tones. Heels not together. But please, when you're on parade, don't start moving around and fidgeting. Remember the heels together and produce that on Horse Guards on Monday, and everybody will go away with a spring in their step and happy as Larry.
Over at Purbright Army Training Camp in Surrey, the Grenadiers are on the drill square, and in a week's time, they will conduct their first rehearsal on Horse Guards. Meanwhile, Rowley, the man who'll lead the parade, is trying to learn some 113 words of command. The rumour is the horse, Burniston, knows them all.
So, Major, what are we doing now? Do you want to do a full rehearsal? Do you want me to give the words of command? I know about a third of them.
My biggest fear at the moment would be one of the officers getting it wrong, because they're quite key on the parade, you know, and they have to be in certain places and give the right words of command at the right time. And unfortunately, if one of those goes wrong, then the boys, all their movements go wrong, and it'll be hard to regain that on the parade then after that.
Guards! Well retired!
No, sir, form for your rank, sir.
Guards! Well formed! 3 ranks!
No, sir.
Stand still! Get back! Get back!
The commanding officer hasn't got it yet, but he and Ian are used to watching one another's backs in situations where mistakes could have dangerous consequences. On patrol in Helmand.
Well, we're going to go out and visit one of the companies. It's one of the areas that we've recently cleared, so the situation's still pretty critical down there. And I find it very useful to go out and spend time with the company commander, with his army counterpart from the Afghan army, as well as the police.
Honestly?
Yep.
Okay. Where we're going today, you couldn't have stood there 3 weeks ago. You know, you'd have been in a fight straight away. So now we've cleared it. It's just a matter of holding it and also making it better for the locals to live in, which we've already started doing. We've built a lot of culverts, so the roads are passable. We've built a lot of shops and also just made life better for them, you know, renovated what we can to make life better for them, and hopefully in return they'll let us know when the Taliban arrive.
Mongoose 0, this is Mongoose 0 Alpha, that's 90 Delta, 90 Echo, and Mongoose 27, departing Shortcut.
Mongoose 0, I say, connect to 90, 4, over.
It's an ever-changing situation in Helmand. Meeting with village elders is a vital part of the mission.
Up until 3 weeks ago, this was the front line. This was, well, the checkpoints you can see behind you. As you can see, that's what presenters the Taliban every morning. And they used to come in and fight. So this village here, Abdulwahid, was one of their sort of forward staging points.
But the welcome from the community is friendly, and so is the commanding officer's message.
We are not here to fight the Taliban. If I could talk to the Taliban commanders today, I would. And we would settle our problems by talking. Because when we can bring security together with you to your village, you will benefit from all the rights that you are meant to have, so that the little ones have a future. Because like you, I am also a father, and the most important thing to me is that my children are brought up safely and have a prosperous future.
For the men of the Queen's Company, their tour of duty has meant months on remote patrol bases. As the senior company of the Grenadiers, they are a tightly knit group.
Go to tire tracks, follow it through, so we don't hear any IEDs, okay?
At the parade, they'll have the prestigious job of escorting the colour. It's a proud moment for all of them. For 22-year-old Lance Corporal Ben Middleton, this was his first time in a war zone.
Been in Afghanistan, my first tour with the Grenadier Guards, my first tour of my army career, really. There has been some good moments, you know, a lot of challenges that you didn't think you'd be able to do, and you've done them. So it's always good to complete your job and know you've done it well. But there has been some low moments, obviously, casualty-wise, and that kind of stuff you have to deal with. And obviously, I miss my daughter, miss family, my girlfriend, and when you get a lot of time on your own, you tend to start thinking about it a bit more, so you start to miss home, and that's a bit of a low moment.
"15 members of the battle group, including 5 grenadiers, have lost their lives on the 6-month tour, and it was on road patrol in February, when the Queen's Company lost one of its own.
A British soldier who was killed in an explosion in Afghanistan yesterday in the early stages of Operation Mushtarak has been named. Last Sergeant David Greenhalgh from 1st Battalion Grenadier Guards died when his vehicle hit an improvised bomb while on patrol in the Nad Ali district of Helmand.
Never seen an ID go off, never found an ID, and then obviously that day, so which that was a major shock for myself. Something I don't ever want to sort of see again.
Yeah, I was with Landsat Dave Greenhouse when he blew up in his Jackal, and that was horrible. The Jackal just got ripped apart. Just went over it, and yeah, he just flew out the vehicle, and had to go find him, and knew instantly like he was dead.
Dave's memory lives on, especially for those who will troop the colour without him.
I think this one is going to be for him. Yeah. From us, yeah. We're going to do it for him.
Everyone is going to be remembered, especially our company, which is the Queen's Company, and we will be we will be escorting the colours, so everyone will have an immense memory.
When we get home, we will have that moment of reflection. We'll gather in the families of those people who've been bereaved. We will gather in those guys who've been injured, and we'll come back together again. That's when it'll be quite emotional for a lot of people, but that's the way I'd like to deal with it.
Another summer day has come and gone away.
How's the flight?
Long.
Yeah, good to be home. Good to be back. Good to get feet back on soil. It's refreshing.
refreshing, both weather and to get home. Blokes are glad to be back now. Just looking forward to get to Wellington Barracks and meeting my mum, my brothers.
Oh, I miss you, you know.
So I was looking forward to doing the troop, I'll be lying, but it is part of our job. And it's one of them things, just like Afghan, we just have to get done and look forward to the leave after.
And baby, how are you? Well, I would send them, but I know that it's just not enough. My words were cold and flat.
Are you excited about Daddy coming home? No. I'm sure you are. It's hard, really hard. I suppose, because he's been away before, I do get used to it, but it was terrifying, really emotional.
He can enjoy his 24th birthday now.
But the thing is, you've got to think about all the other guys. You know, the other families, their guys don't come home. So we're lucky.
From where you are, I wanna come home. And I feel just like I'm living someone else's life. It's like I just stepped outside and everything was going right. And I know just why you could not come along with me. This was not your dream, but you always believed in me.
Where have you been?
Another winter day has come and gone away. It is Paris is home, and I wanna go home. Let me go.
At least you've got a suntan.
And I'm surrounded by a million people. I still feel alone. Let me go home. Oh, I miss you, you know. Let me go home. It'll all be alright.
Very red.
I'll be home tonight. I'm coming back home.
You okay? Yeah, I'm fine. Sure, Ross.
They're home, and within 1 week the Grenadiers gather together at Wellington Barracks to mark their return with a medals parade. Those who have just completed their first tour are awarded the Afghanistan Service Medal.
Today is a hugely important day. For me, and for the serving soldiers, it's the end of the operational tour. We go on leave tomorrow, we come back in 2 weeks' time, and we are absolutely singularly focused on the birthday parade. So this, for us, is the end of the tour. I hope for the families it's the end of the tour, but clearly there are those who are bereaved, for whom this will never be the end, and there are those who are injured who still require lots and lots of treatment.
Lieutenant Garth Banks is there to receive his medal from the Major General. He managed to stand on parade for the first time since his injury.
I'm absolutely fine with it. I knew the risks of going out into Afghanistan, and I knew the IED threat, and I knew how greatly it's used out there by the Taliban. But on the day, I was in charge of the guys, and the decisions sort of before and after the occasion were all mine. I have no regrets. I joined the Grenadier Guards, and that's what I wanted to do, and I wanted to go to Afghanistan as a Grenadier Guards officer. So I enjoyed my time thoroughly out there. It was very interesting. You know, I can be thankful for that, and I can be thankful that I'm still here.
Inside the Guards' chapel, the time had come to mourn and remember those who had never made it home.
And the fallen of the Grenadier Guards. Guardsman Janes, Grenadier Guards. Warrant Officer Class 1, Regimental Sergeant Major Chant, Grenadier Guards. Sergeant Telford, Grenadier Guards. Guardsman Major, Grenadier Guards. And Lance Sergeant Greenall, Grenadier Guards.
The Queen's Company's wish to march for Lance Sergeant Dave Greenall at Trooping the Colour this Saturday is their own special act of remembrance.
Dave made an impact on the people around him, and I mean, that's something that makes you proud, really, to think that all of those guys that are marching for the Queen on that very special day, they're going to be thinking about their fallen comrades, and in that case particularly Dave, which would mean a lot to me, and would mean a lot to Dave, you know.
At the going down of the sun and in the morning, we will remember them.
It's May the 11th at Buckingham Palace, and it's a special day for the Grenadier Guards. You can't troop the colour without a regimental flag. Today, the regiment received their new colours from the Colonel-in-Chief, the Queen. It's an event most soldiers will only see once in a career, and it's the flag the Grenadiers will parade on June the 12th.
The colours that I'm presenting to you this morning represent the spirit of the regiment, past and present. The battle honours, which are embroidered on the colours, are a memorial to all who have given their lives, their health, or their service to the regiment.
For the ensign, James Brown, it was finally his chance to hold the actual colour.
The colour is quite heavy, certainly when you're holding it with one arm. The crown at the top weighs a fair bit, as well as the material itself, and indeed the pole that it's mounted on. So yes, it does weigh quite a lot. It's not too bad when it's in the colour belt, but once it's out and about, it weighs a fair bit.
The Grenadier Guards assemble for their official photograph with the Queen and the Colonel of the regiment, the Duke of Edinburgh. The Grenadiers must soon prove themselves as the lead regiment of the troop. But they won't be alone. A total of 8 regiments have important roles to play. The King's Troop, Royal Horse Artillery, must prepare their horses and First World War field guns to fire a 41-gun Royal Salute. While the 2 regiments of the Household Cavalry, the Life Guards and the Blues and Royals, have not only to master the parade, but they must do it on horseback. It means hours of rehearsals in full military uniforms under the considered gaze of Garrison Sergeant Major Billy Mott.
There's no difference between dealing with foot guards and troopers and gunners from the Royal Artillery. It's the bloody horses that they're sat on that's the difference, because they don't listen to words of command until I can get right on top of them.
Dress in now by the right! Stay covered off your barrels! Don't drift out!
Now, none of those people work together routinely.
So you've got this huge collective endeavour where we've got people at various different standards. Some have been doing public duty for the past 6 months, others have been warfighting in operations, and you've got to bring them all together. They've all got to achieve the same standard. Getting the precision right, getting the self-discipline right, is actually quite a tricky business.
The Grenadiers have just days left before their big rehearsal. Rowley and Burniston are still working on the Rainback, and today they're in front of the experts, the household cavalry.
For the young troopers on parade, foot guardsmen showing you how to rein back.
I'm not sure about that reining back now, Garrison.
That's all right, sir, that's fine. I think he's doing very well.
The Grenadier Guards have faced danger and the demands of war. They've spent weeks being shouted at on drill squares and army bases, rehearsing separately, but have they reached the right standard for trooping the colour? Today's their big test. The first rehearsal on Horse Guards Parade.
Things will go wrong, but this is where it's our chance, isn't it, to get it right, polish up.
The reason why I stand on a chair to put my tweeds on is so I don't drag all the dirt and dust on the bottom as I pull them on.
I mean, this will be my 10th troop now in 15 years, so it's, you know, you think you get used to it, but you don't. You know, the transition, especially the transition from being in Afghanistan to being here, you know, it's difficult at all levels. Obviously, being the company site manager, you know, obviously it's my job to make sure that the guys carry out that transition as smoothly as possible. So it is, yeah, it's very difficult. It's always a challenge.
End of your magazines, fucking rust, do that.
That is, hey, that is not acceptable, you understand me?
Got a rusty mark. It's one of those things they pick every now and then.
Getting pure busted on camera as well.
Work hard! You look great! You are great! Go and show everybody up there how great you are! Work hard, let's have a good parade! Good!
Seasoned pro Burniston seems calm, but is the commanding officer.
It's the first time I've ever been on a parade on Horse Guards, which for a guardsman is quite an admission. In that regard, it's a first for me. We were ready, we've done some training. It's been a very sharp preparation. We haven't had that many days to prepare for this, but first and foremost, this is a rehearsal. So I'm happy if things go wrong, as long as it's not absolutely drastic and it's not something that really oughtn't to be going wrong.
She just wants to get on with it, doesn't she? She knows where she's going.
But once he's out there, Rowley is on his own.
Right, sir.
Fall in! The officers!
Shut, 2, 3, draw, 2, 3, recover, 2, 3, carry, 2, 3, left, right, left. Better leg, sir.
Thank you.
Guards! Stand fast! Number 3 guard!
Sir, we got one down already, sir.
Yeah, seen.
It soon proves far too much for one guardsman.
There should be a stretcher pair of party over there, isn't there? There is, yeah.
There's a little bit of fumbling, but no embarrassment for James, the ensign, as he receives the colour.
General! Sir! Present! Out!
Great, isn't it? He's in the wrong order of march though now.
Right! Form!
No, he's let him in. Well done, lads.
Turn!
The corps of drums and massed bands seem to have the dressing sorted. But Rowley performs the rainback perhaps not as smoothly as he might like. Steve and the Queen's Company seem to have their march in order. But the drum majors are out of line.
The best way to describe it is organised chaos. But they get the feel of it after this. The ground, the texture, the ambience, but they're not at the minute. Some of them.
Thankfully, they'll have a few more chances before they have to troop the colour for real. After the rehearsal, the senior officers gather for a frank debrief in front of the brigade major.
One of the things that I notice tend to be sort of general bearing and turnout and confidence, and that's the sort of thing that I notice, and I don't think you're where you should be. You know, lots of very loose arms, swords all over the place, taking post officers. I mean, it's 16 and 32, I think, and I mean there were a few more paces being taken, or people were doing it at different speeds. So please, let's get on top of that.
That was the first time I've been on parade on the Horse Guard, so thank you for being there. And under the circumstances, I think a good effort. And I think for the 1st Battalion, the excuse of having been in operations now has worn a bit thin, so that's now over. We're back, and we're with the rest of the gang, all at one standard. Thanks very much.
Sit easy, please. The officers, gentlemen, if you would like to retire.
There is still a lot to do, and there is only one standard that we're allowed, and that's the standard of excellence, and we are far short of that. So, still work to do.
I wouldn't tell them, but it was a good start. And the reason why I wouldn't is they would become a little bit too cocky.
The whole world is looking at you on television right now.
Training will continue until this Saturday,
Why did you do that?
when the 1st Battalion Grenadier Guards must perform trooping the colour, along with the full ranks of 1,500 soldiers from 8 regiments in front of the Queen.
It's a big parade, it's the Queen's birthday. You've only got one chance to get it right.
I think Her Majesty, I mean, she knows exactly what's meant to happen and when it's meant to happen, and I think she has very exacting standards. I just hope that we do her proud.
The parade marks the survival of the oldest regiments of the British Army. Soldiers who can switch from fighting the Taliban to presenting themselves as the best ceremonial soldiers in the world.
A young woman called Charlie heads to Turkey for Tribal Wives, a brand new series here on BBC HD tomorrow at 10. We're back to tonight, and there's comedy next with Getting On.